I just don't think my story ends here. I just don't know how to get out of it.
All right, Holly.
Hi.
Holly, where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Gloucester, Massachusetts. I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother and two younger sisters. My dad is an alcoholic. My mom is an addict. I grew up, kind of rough. I had to grow up real early. I had a child at 16 and was on my own at 17. Not much help from his father as far as child support's concerned.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was it was rough. My dad was real nasty when he drank. And sometimes he would mistake me for my mom. I can remember when I was 8 years old, and I think maybe it was 10, but we were at a family cookout, and we were all having a good time, and everybody's playing, and then I noticed my dad sitting at the picnic table, and he was kind of nodding out, and I was concerned, so I went over to him, and he kept calling me by my mom's name, which was Nancy. And I said, "No, I'm not Nancy. I'm your daughter." And he asked me to go with him to his truck to get something, and I said, "Well, why don't we go get Mom?" But he wasn't. He just wasn't. He was convinced I was my mom. So I went out to the truck with him, and we sat out there for a good 2 hours. Well, at 10 years old, like, he had a 9mm in his glove compartment, and he wanted to kill himself because he thought he was a bad father, a bad husband, but he also wanted to kill me too because he thought it was my mom, and if he couldn't have her, nobody could. And so at that age, I had to calm him down in enough so that he wouldn't kill us both. And it was almost 2 hours we sat in that truck before someone actually noticed that we were missing. And my cousin Georgie actually had showed up, and he saw the look on my face and the gun in my father's lap, and the keys were in the ignition, and called for help. And the next thing I know, someone's opening the passenger door of the truck, and I'm being yanked out of the car, out of the truck, and it was a real big issue. I just couldn't understand, like, why it took 2 hours for somebody to notice that we were missing, or nobody noticed that he was so inebriated, like, nobody noticed. But
And then you got pregnant at 16?
yes, I did. I was young and just having fun. It was a summertime, and he was everybody. He's the most popular kid in the class. And what happened, and I got pregnant, and I did the best that I could. I was on my own at 17 with him, and I had absolutely no direction. And I went from being in high school one minute to all of a sudden now I've got to pay rent, and there's doctor's bills and insurance and all sorts of stuff, food, and a baby that I'm trying to raise, and I'm just a kid myself. And I did the best I could. I was able to support him for the first 4 years of his life, and after that, we got evicted for non-payment of the rent for one reason or another, and I sent him to live with his father because he lived with his parents, and his parents I knew would take care of my son. And that was one of the, it was. Excuse me. That was really difficult because when I got pregnant, thanks.
I never really wanted kids because I didn't want to put them through what I had already been through. But when I found out I was pregnant, like I did the right thing, you know. But I wanted to be there. For him, the way my parents weren't for me. But I did the best that I could with what I had, you know. And I was there, like I weekends and, picked him up from school one night a week, and did homework and all that stuff. And, I did the best that I could. And then in October of 2005, I found my best friend's body 3 weeks after she had been killed. And I was held hostage by the person who had killed her for an hour and a half before the police showed up. And he said that she had killed herself, but it was clear that she didn't. And but he was in a state of psychosis, and I knew, just by the look in his eye because there was a girl that came with me. She was their coke dealer's girlfriend, and she had been selling him cocaine for 3 weeks, and apparently he had been cooking it up and smoking it up, while my best friend's body is rotting in the house and pretending like nothing's wrong. It was crazy, but I broke in there with her, and she helped me break in, and he sent her away to go get some cocaine because he wanted to get high, but he had me, had already grabbed me by the arm and pulled me down on the couch, and said, well, you stay here, that way I know, you're my collateral. So I sat there, it was an L-shaped couch like this, so we're sitting here, and my friend's body's right here, wrapped in a blanket, and I just told him that we would go in the morning, and I would help him, I would say I believed him, and, I played him. I told him anything he wanted to hear, because I knew my life was on the line, But there was finally a knock on the door an hour and a half later, and it was the police, and at first, Sergeant Tybert walked in, and he's like, I'm from a close-knit town, like, so everybody knows everybody, you know what I mean? And he's like, what are you doing, Holly? Because I had called them first to do a welfare check on her, and they said that they had been there earlier to arrest her for not showing up for a court date, but there was a note on the door saying that they were away and that somebody was taking care of the cat. I said, yeah, but all the lights are on, the keys are there. I said, and there's a foul odor, like nobody's heard from her, dude. Like, you couldn't put that together yourself, and he said he wouldn't help me, so I broke into the house myself, like, because I knew something was wrong. And at first he saw the broken glass on the kitchen floor, and he's like, put your hands behind your back. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, you might want to go handle the situation, in the living room. And he goes, well, what happened? And I said, Wendy's dead. And she's been dead for quite some time. Well, where's her boyfriend, John McKenzie? And he's on the couch, and he said, well, they're both dead. I was like, no, man, like, no, she's dead. He killed her, and he's been in here quite some time. Like, you want to go handle the situation? Or do you want me to put the cuffs on him? And he's like, well, he's like, show me. I said, you go. You're the one with a weapon. I'm done. My job's done. And I'll never forget the look, because he thought that, when there was a knock on the door, he thought that it was, Tracy with the drugs, and he gave me $300 and said, here, grab the drugs and send them away. And so, he thought that he's like, so did you get the drugs? And not realizing that it wasn't even me at first, it was Sergeant Tybert and then me. And then, I mean, if looks could kill, like, when he realized what I had done, that I completely played him, like, he lunged at me, and he told me that I would pay for what I had done. You know, and I told him that I wasn't afraid of him, you know, and that I wouldn't sleep until I made sure that he'd be behind bars for the rest of his life, and he is. I testified, and he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He just happened to just had his parole hearing, and they weren't allowing people in because of COVID and all that stuff. But I wrote a strongly worded letter because his daughter actually contacted me after almost 20 years and said, Holly, if he gets out, he's like, you're the only one that I know that can stand up to him. If he gets out, our lives are finally somewhat normal now. If he gets out, I'm afraid he's going to take all that all away. She's like, please, can you do what you can to make sure he stays there? And that was his daughter, you know. And I wrote a letter to the DA, and they read it at his parole hearing, and he was denied parole. He'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. You know, and I had always talked to Wendy about, we always had this dream about moving away from the city where we're from, because Gloucester's it's a big fishing town. It's America's oldest seaport, and, you know, it's a big drinking town, and, you know what I mean? The biggest thing we got going is Gorton's fishing plant, you know what I mean? Like, working the fire later overnight, like, and it's just not, we wanted something bigger, you know? And, I promised her, I always talked to her about going into the military, and she always said that I'd be good at it. So at 25 years old, I joined the military, and I graduated first in my class.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I obtained the rank of sergeant in 2.5 years, and I was deployed to Iraq in 2009. And I served for 11 months over there, and I was injured. I was we were at a checkpoint. I was with the 10th Mountain Division from Fort Drum, New York, an MP unit. Because my job over there was, I did a lot of admin stuff, but I also was operations. So, like, you know, I was with a water purification unit because that was my main MOS. But I also acted as their, combat medic over there as well. And say, like, the water site needed, like, chlorine or something like that, or we needed ammo, it was my job to find out what company was leaving my fob and going to the next fob, and I'd have to jump on, you know, their mission and go with them and get to that fob and bring everything back. You know, so I did that for about 11 months, and we were at a checkpoint, and we were ambushed by small arms and mortar rounds, rocket-propelled grenades, and I was pretty badly injured, and I spent a year and a half in the Dwight D. Eisenhower Hospital in Fort Gordon, Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, recovering from my injuries, and the Army, medically retired me from my injuries sustained overseas. I was, but that's kind of where my addiction to fentanyl got started, because they had me on 120 milligrams of OxyContin for 2 years and cut me off cold turkey. I didn't even know you could get dope sick. I didn't even know what dope sick was. I mean, I did for my dad a little bit, but I didn't know you could get dope sick from pills. Like, I didn't do drugs. I tried to do everything the opposite, so I wouldn't have to go through or put my son through what I had gone through with my parents growing up, and it kind of, now it's weird because in the end I worked so hard, trying to go the opposite direction. I ended up exactly where, I feel like exactly where my parents were, which is, I don't know. It bothers me, my son has also had issues with drugs. I put him got him into rehab the first time. I was able to catch it. And, he's doing really good right now. He's fishing. He does a lobster. He works on a lobster boat in Rockport, Massachusetts. And he's doing really good. He's on Suboxone, and he's doing really good for himself, and I'm really proud of him. And with COVID and everything, I haven't been home in a few years, but I mean, the last time I went home, it wasn't really good. I was dope sick for the first 3 days, and I think everybody kind of knew it, and everybody was kind of sick of my shit, and it showed because nobody really, they wanted to see me, but, I didn't really get to see anybody, and, I was so ashamed of myself.
Today you're living where?
Today I live in Los Angeles. I moved out here after my husband died. Well, he died of an overdose. We were on heroin together back home in Massachusetts, and actually we lived in Maine, and we got clean. We had 10.5 months clean, and I was really trying to make it work, and I had my son living with me, and I was trying to make stuff work, and he relapsed. And, I was like, after everything I'd already been through in my life, and I was actually, towing the line and doing the right thing and clean and all that, and then, like, I got clean to have to deal with that kick in the balls, like, I was like, fuck you. Thank you. And, and at the same time, like, everything with my son, like, he needed to go into rehab, like, everything just catapulted all at once, and I just, I made sure my son was okay and that he was healthy and everything, and, I waited a couple of years. I moved out here to kind of start over, I needed maybe a fresh start or something, but I've been out here for like 8 years now, and it's scary because I feel like those 8 years are just a blur. Like, I've done nothing but get high. I'm out in the streets, and every day I try and make $1 just so I can be well and function.
How are you supporting yourself?
Right now I do I boost, which means I go into stores and I steal shit and I sell it, to make money so I don't have to, because I can't, I've thought about selling my body, but I just can't bring myself to do it, But I've been to jail, I've been arrested for boosting, and I've had caught a couple of cases for it, and, jail's no fun. Jail is no fun. I missed my grandmother's funeral because I was in jail for boosting.
And you sleep where? Do you have a tent? Or?
No, I just sleep on the street. Sometimes, like, I'll make enough money for a room, but, unfortunately, like, I make money, like, the drugs come first because I can't function without it, so if I make enough money to get, be well and eat, and that's what happens, and I don't mind sleeping in the cold. That's not true.
Your typical day looks like what? You wake up and...
I wake up, I get ready, like, I'm usually dressed a little bit better, but it's been a rough couple of days, but I get up, I get dressed, like, you have to play the part, so to speak, like, I put makeup on, I do my hair, maybe a business suit or something like that I put on, and I go into stores and I grab a duffel bag off the shelf and I throw items in, and I, hope to God that they, tackle me on the way out the door. But, I'll fill carts up to the rim and grab a receipt out of the trash and walk out with a cart, like, because I'm not going to be sick. That's one thing I'm not going to do. Like, I've been sick and I refuse. I'm not going to do it. I can't function. You know, and I was on heroin first before I got on fentanyl, and I only got on fentanyl because I couldn't find any good heroin around, you know? And I kind of tired of shooting up too, you know? I haven't shot up in over 3 years, you know? But the fentanyl, man, that thing, damn. Like, kicking from that is no joke. Like, it's no joke off heroin either, but I mean, at least then I could tolerate that, you know what I mean? This, like, I can't, you just, I mean, within hours, you're throwing up, you have diarrhea, like, you can't move. I refuse to be like that, you know? But at the same time, it's like taking my whole life. Like, I haven't been home. I mean, COVID, you know, kind of, the last year and a half, COVID kind of put the kibosh on that, but I haven't been home because I can't take time off from, you know, doing what I do every day, like, you know, and I'm sure I'm not going to risk smuggling on a plane to fly home with it, you know, like, fuck all that shit, you know, but I mean, Christmas just passed, and like, my birthday was New Year's Eve, and, you know, I slept on a sidewalk by myself, you know, but, you know, I don't know, you have your ups and downs, and I guess
Do you feel helpless against your addiction?
yeah, I do. You know, because I've been clean before, and, you know, nothing's ever the same. You know, like, you don't have the same drive. You don't have the same anything. Like, you know, just getting up out of bed is a chore, you know? Like, you don't look forward to anything. Like, nothing's the same. So what am I supposed to do? Like, do I get clean and like, you know, just fake it and be miserable and just eventually relapse and put everybody through everything again? Or do I just maintain and try and figure out a way, a balance somehow? You know, whatever that balance is, you know? But then again, like 8 years have gone by and I still haven't found that balance. So what do I do?
Do you think if you wrote it out, that uncomfortable feeling for 6 months or a year or whatever, maybe your brain chemistry might get back to what normal was? And
maybe, I mean,
okay?
I had 10 and a half months.
You did?
You know? Yeah, I did. I had 10 and a half months, and
Was it still difficult?
yeah. Not as difficult though. But it's just, nothing's the same. But I mean, I don't know, I guess you're right. I mean, I never got over a year. People say, like, if you can get through the first year, you'll be all right.
Yeah, because what you're doing by taking these drugs is screwing around with your brain chemistry, your dopamine, and all these things. And if you somehow muscled through a certain period of time, I don't know if it's a year or 6 months or 3 years, I don't know, but some period of time, you would think your brain would come back and start producing these chemicals on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
No, it's got to be
You know, it's
terribly hard.
like, Jesus Christ, you know, like, all I've done my whole life is fight. You know, that's all I know how to do is fight and survive, fight and survive, fight and survive. Like,
It's got to be depressing as well.
yeah, I'm tired. You know, I mean, I guess nobody ever asked for addiction, you know? Like, I just wish that, you know, when I was injured, I wish that they had paid more attention or given me more knowledge on, you know, on addiction and the pills they were giving me. I was on 13 different medications. 13. I went from being on 0, not even taking a Tylenol for a headache, to 13 heavy duty, like Valium, Xanax, you know, I mean, Oxycontin, Percocet. I mean, you name it, I was on it. I mean, that's crazy. And then they give you a flag and a pin and a pat on the back, a boot in the ass, and say, "Good job, soldier." The fuck? You know, that really made me bitter. You know, because, you know, those of us that have experienced, like, real combat, like, in order to survive it, you have to give up a part of yourself that you never get back. And, you know, for the most part, we, you know, accept that part of us will never come back. I guess I didn't, it wasn't the fact that I was so expendable And it was just another number, you know? Like, didn't they understand, like, what kind of sacrifices I had to make out there, you know? Well, the parts of myself that I had to let go of out there in order to, you know, to get the mission done and to come home, you know? Wasn't that worth something? You know, I felt like to them it was, oh well, you know? And that really stuck with me. That really made me really bitter.
Do you regret enlisting now?
No, today's army is a lot different. I thank God I was like part of the last graduating like class of old school, you know, like, you know, you were raised like, you know, when I qualified with my M16 for the first time, like, you know, they punched me in my chest with you know, you get with your medal, but they don't put the backings on and they punch it and that's part of your initiation. Like, I was part of the last class that got to do that, you know? I was part of the hard chargers that like, you know, like the military was something, like we're the most powerful force in the world, you know what I mean? Like, we took pride in what we did and we were strong, we had backbone. What I see in today's military, man, it's just, oh, man, it makes me sad. Because what's going to happen when shit hits the fan? They're going to look to us people that they discarded, you know, and labeled us as monsters or unstable or whatever. They're going to want to come to us to help fix the issue, you know? But I was really good at what I did, you know? I finally found something that I was good at that I could be proud of. You know, that I didn't fuck up totally, you know?
What are you afraid of now?
What am I afraid of now? I'm afraid of waking up 10 years from now and pushing a cart on the street full of trash. Like, I see, you know, a lot of these older women, like, I just don't think my story ends here. I just don't know how to get out of it. And I'm more afraid of them. Like, time's running out. You know? I've already been out here 8 years, like, you know? Like, I know this stuff is real dangerous too, you know? I've never OD'd or anything like that.
You never OD'd?
No, not once.
Wow.
But that's not to say, you know, I know I gamble every time, like, I dose or whatever. I mean, I smoke it. I don't shoot fentanyl. I never have and I never will. I just feel like it just sucks because I'm tired of fucking fighting, man. I just feel like I never really got a break in life, you know? Fuck, like, and I gotta make a choice. Either I fight and I get out of this situation, or it's gonna swallow me. And I'm more afraid of that I've run out of time. And I'm just not ready to make that choice yet. You know? But I got a son at home who's 23, he's a really good kid, you know? I want to be able to be there for him. You know, how am I supposed to be there for him when I'm out here getting high and he's doing the right thing? Like, you know? That sucks. But I've got to figure something out because I don't want to... Like, I guess my worst fear would be for him to succumb to his addictions and end up out on the street like me, you know? I don't think I'd ever forgive myself for that. I just don't know how to make my way back there, I guess. I just been kind of floating around lost. I just don't know how to make my way back. You know? I don't know if I can. That's not true. I know I can. I'm just tired, you know?
All right, Holly. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Wish you lots of luck getting back.
Thanks.
Thank you.